Okay, the frequency is already great. I'm catching one fish after another here, but the sizes, they're still not really that good. So, it could definitely be a bit better here in terms of fish size. If the number would go down a bit now, and instead bigger fish would come in, then this would be a really good spot. Or you just stand here and fish for quantity. So 10 minutes here at the spot right now, already caught 16 fish. So again, more fish than minutes. That's always a good sign. Yeah, I'm back again at Amber Lake and testing different flavors. And of course, I also found a flavor that works quite well. Very simple spot testing and analyzing always works in the same way. You just go in here with a relatively small bait and test different flavors. The whole thing was already explained in detail in the spot analysis video. So if you still have questions, just take a look. How to analyze the bottom, how far the spot is, and how you then adjust your setup accordingly. And this also works just as well on all other waters. Or of course also for carp anglers at Bear Lake, because at Bear Lake we find exactly the same situations as here at Amber Lake. So that means even in the mid-game you can already start with this and catch your first carp at the 3 most important spots at Bear Lake. Yeah, now it's really starting to pick up properly here. I'm curious how this will change in a moment when I adjust the setup, because fish around 2, 3, 4, 5 kilograms are nice if you want to gain some percentage in bottom fishing, or if you just want to fish for quantity, then that's okay, but the fish are simply too small for me. So we now have different options to work this spot a bit more. First of all, I can of course throw in feed because I'm testing this completely without ground bait for now. Cast out again immediately, and boom, the fish are at the spot. The fish also like the flavor, and accordingly, we already have a very important factor. So we know that the fish are at this spot and that they react to mussel. And we're now going to expand this flavor profile even further. And the first step is of course that we switch from this simple test bait to a larger version. So we go in again here with mussel, and with the boilies we of course start small as well. Right now this is garlic and mussel. That means we automatically have another flavor component included with this boilie. So we test it here first with this combination. Cast out again nice and easy. By the way, 15-meter line clip here. Also a very classic spot that has been working well regularly for years. And then continue here right away and keep testing. So common carp is still there. Now of course the question is, will other carp come to the spot as well? And how do we influence the size with different baits? Theoretically, you could also change the hook size, but that's not really necessary. For carp fishing, a size 6, 4, or 1 hook is usually enough. That's absolutely sufficient. Especially if you want to go more for frequency, you can even use smaller hooks. And here with the size 1 hook, you can easily pull out trophy sizes as well. That's why I'm not changing that here, and could now choose another rig as the next step. What is always a good option here is the Snowman rig. So if you've already unlocked that, it fits very well. Here we also have the option to use corn in combination with pellets, so sinking bait and the rising corn. Snowman rig absolutely worth it because it allows you to make such bait combinations and also to use baits and flavors that we otherwise can't use. For example, here with the sinking boilie, we now have 4 different mussel flavors. With the pop-up boilie, it was only 1 version, and here with the sinking one, we have 4 different musselful flavors. And I'll start here with crab mussel soluble, because these soluble boilies are even better in attraction. Then add mussel green again, and cast it out straight away. So nice and easy out there. And we already have the first reaction to the bait combination with the boilie. So now let's see how it behaves. The fish was okay at 4.7 kilograms. So quickly cast out again here, still without ground bait. First, just testing how it is received by the fish, how things are going here. I still only have the corn with mussel here. And the important thing is, we are still in the night right now. Normally at many spots you have no frequency at night or very low frequency because fish are still coming in here. We already have a really good confirmation for the mussel flavor, so it seems to be working really well for the fish right now. So definitely keep testing, and look at that, boom, it immediately starts again here with the Snowman rig. I'll pull the fish out first, and then we'll also change the third setup. Look at that, nice. Again, a bit more weight on it. That's how it can continue. And if the frequency is just as good in the morning hours, then that's perfect. So, third setup. We can also rebuild that further now. The setup is now changed to a classic hair rig, so completely sinking boilies. That's of course something completely different from the initial test. Still, I'll test it first with small boilies. Here, for example, pellets in size 14, and again, crab mussel soluble, and cast the whole thing straight back out to 15 meters. So this is again a completely different version. We have the pop-up version rising, then the Snowman rig, which is kind of a mix, and then as the third version, the sinking boilies. All in all, in the direction of mussel fishy flavors. And it actually seems to be working quite well. So let's see how this develops, and like I said, still completely without ground bait mix. The spot is not influenced by me at all yet. You can just come here as the spot is right now and pull fish out immediately. That's of course a huge advantage. Especially here in this small bay, you can also position yourself very well if you're not that advanced in carp fishing yet. If you maybe haven't skilled ground bait or don't have PVA yet. So you can go in here with a relatively simple setup. By the way, all important information on how to progress in carp fishing, what to buy, what to skill, everything is explained in detail in the complete carp fishing playlist. Things are continuing really well here. First of all though, on these two pop-up versions, so here once with 6 kilograms, that's already clearly above the average of the other fish, and then here again on the soluble version with the Snowman rig. Well, that one isn't that big, but we'll keep watching what happens here. And now I'm also waiting for a reaction from the classic hair rig, meaning the sinking boilies. And if there's no reaction, well then I'll just rebuild again, probably back to the pop-up rig. All rig types also have like factors, so it can definitely be that fish prefer one rig type over another, and accordingly, you always have to keep testing there as well. Still, I'm extremely satisfied with this spot. You can really do well here. 25 fish already in the net, 23 minutes here at the spot so far, so still a very good ratio, more fish than minutes. And of course you can now also influence this with a ground bait mix, and we'll take a look at that as well. But for now, I'll keep testing without ground bait. Well, look at that. Now we even have a tench here at the spot with this crab and mussel combination. Also quite interesting. I'll gladly take that too. That means we already know now, at this spot, besides the common carp and the framed carp, we also have tench here and maybe a small population of mirror carp. By the way, all the information about a spot is already explained in the tutorial about spots. What even is a spot, and how can we as anglers actually influence a spot? Super essential, super important video. And boom, it continues right here. So, just cast out, immediate reaction again, now also a reaction here on the classic hair rig, also quite good. So far I'm really satisfied, especially because all of this is working here without ground bait. That's already really good. Nevertheless, we're now going to mix a ground bait mix as well, so that we simply have the option, if this slows down, to maybe influence the spot a bit more. So quickly cast out again, and then let's take a look at the ground bait. In this case, I'm just using feed balls. The spot is only 15 meters away. That means I can easily cast it out. And here we now have different options. A good base is always pea, corn, rye. It always works well, but also wheat bran. So for these standard carp species, you're quite well set up with these 4 versions. But all of these versions also trigger slightly different fish. I'll try it now with rye bran. With wheat bran, you often get more common carp, so I'll test rye bran here to see if it attracts other fish as well. And still, of course, I'll also add some base flavors. Corn is always very important. We are already using it here as an artificial version, so the artificial corn is our bait. Then, of course, I've been using mussel flavor the whole time. That means I'll add one version of feed pellets. That's absolutely enough. So we're not taking 3 times mussel feed pellets. That doesn't give any additional effect. One version of feed pellets already gives the full effect. If we add 2 more, we're just wasting 2 slots in the ground bait mix. So we don't do that. Instead, we add more attractants that carp find interesting. Here we could now add another protein source. For example, maggots could work because that is also included in the original carp ground bait mix, but we also have Zebramussle here, which is a very high quality feed. That would also be an option. Or of course, crushed boilie, crab mussel soluble. That is always a really good option to put into the ground bait. But I'll stick with Zebramussle here. And as the last ingredient, I'll add another protein component from the standard foods, just egg. That goes in as well. The whole thing then goes again in the direction of mussel, simply with mussel sauce, and that's how I'll throw it in right away. Before that, I'll quickly pull out all the carp that have bitten in the meantime. Still, all 3 rig types are working, from sinking to semi-sinking to pop-up setups, so all versions are currently working here with carp. Let's see how the ground bait will influence the spot in a moment. Quickly cast out again, and now let's take a look at the feeding. 15 meters. I now have to throw where the marker is. That means I take a few steps back so we land exactly there. 1 test cast. That's already almost too far. That means I need to throw a bit shorter, step a bit more forward again. And that looks really good. So I stand here in the area and then cast about 20 meters. Yeah, 21 meters. That fits. So now we put in the ground bait mix first. I'll start with about 10 balls, maybe also 13 balls, and then we'll just see how this affects the spot. Spread a bit to the left, a bit to the right, just so we have enough ground bait at the spot. Now, this can of course first lead to the entire spot being reset, so to speak. That means it's quite possible that the spot will be dead for a few minutes because we are now influencing it with ground bait. And now we have to see, does this work or not? In the worst case, we completely kill the spot. That's why it's always a bit tricky when we influence a spot like this, that populations become active that we maybe don't even want to catch, but it actually still seems to be working quite well. So still here on Mussel Flavor with different setups, yes, with the ground bait. So that also seems to be working well. It doesn't take long. The fish also have a pretty good weight. The next step would now be to catch even bigger fish to increase the boilie size. So move towards 20 millimeter boilies, 18, 20 millimeter size. That's the next step to see if we can catch bigger carp here. If you like this and it helped you, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And then I'll see you in one of the next videos or maybe in a live stream. Until then, tight lines.